And a reminder, the first 30 minutes of this podcast are available on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Google, and many of the major platforms. The full podcast is available at www.patreon.com/SRB Media. SRB Media.
Good evening, TC.
Good evening, Gavin.
And welcome all to our weekly podcast, Terry Currans, the Curran View with the Isle of Hillsborough. Mr. Terry Curran, steady away, son. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. My knees were giving me a bit of stick yesterday, so other than that, not too bad at all.
Well, this is the thing with players of your age and of your generation, too. You had that many injections put into them to get you onto a football pitch that was, shall we say, not conducive to playing good football and not really fit for football, not like the Bowling Green green pitches that they have today, sadly, where players don't have to do that. You won't have players of this generation going through, sadly, what you guys went through.
Well, I had 25. I had 5 cortisone injections.
Yeah.
And they said one's bad for you, so what does that tell you?
Exactly.
I read some x-rays on, week last Sunday I had some x-rays, and it's bone on bone with little bones growing out. So as soon as I get the x-rays back, I'll take it from there. But I'll put it off long enough. I've got to a stage now where I'm getting the pain, real pain now. So
yeah, when they told Gaz he was going to have a cortisone injection, he was delighted. He thought he was going to get a new car, didn't he? But that wasn't quite the case. Magic moments, TC. What have you sourced for us this week?
Well, we didn't do last week, and obviously the last week, and then this week's just gone. But I'm going for Ireland's goal the other night. I thought
brilliant.
Jack Grealish was absolutely sublime. But for a guy at that size, so what is he, 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah, he's about that, isn't he? Yeah.
He's about that, isn't
He's
it?
huge.
The goal. I mean, it's a great ball in by Jack, but his pace takes him away. But they just composure to chip it over the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper just looking at the ball go over his head. You're thinking, City are an unbelievable team, coached by an unbelievable manager. Yes, money always comes into it, but then you get the other half will turn around and say, well, what about Chelsea? Well, if you don't spend your money wisely, that's what you get.
Absolutely, and you look at Everton as well. Currently, look as though they're one of the 3 that's going to get relegated. It is a brave man to forecast who's going to get relegated, but again, we go back.
Difficult.
Yeah,
I think it's very difficult. What you're saying is, is 100% right there.
Yeah.
Will Forest go down? I think they'll get enough points to stay up now. I think Leeds and Everton are the 2 with Leicester. I think it's between them.
I think you've got Saints.
To go down to say, well, I'm on about Saints. I put Saints are already down.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that.
Leicester, Leeds, maybe Everton. That's the 3. I think Forest will get. I think Forest will beat Southampton on Monday night.
Yes.
I think Forest will beat Southampton Monday night, and they'll pick up another point somewhere else, and that'll see them safe.
Yeah, it's going to be a great run-in. There's only, 4, maybe 5 games left for most clubs. My magic moment... Sorry, T.
Before your magic moment, when you look at it, football from the 92 when they introduced the Premier League, you get more praise now for staying up, or as much praise for staying up, than the teams winning the League Cup or an FA Cup, which I find incredible. The emphasis is on staying up, and the showing the games more live and making it more exciting than an FA Cup and a League Cup final. You know what I mean?
We've had this debate many times on the podcast, and I would like to dwell on for a few moments. I did post up last night with West Ham, and I think that if you're so
I agree with you. Watching that game last night, you just turned it up. Well, I'm saying watching that game.
Yeah, it was attack versus defence again.
I went to pick my brother up. Was it last night? Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I went to Wakefield to pick my brother up. He'd been one of these Grassington somewhere, Grassington, Skipton somewhere else on one of these bus trips. He said, but the problem was I couldn't walk because it were all hilly.
Yeah.
But I've seen clips of it. I saw your thing. That's what it was. I seen your thing last night,
Mm.
and then I saw clips of the games on TV today. You know, highlights of the game, and I'm thinking, Gabby's 100% right. It's just boring to watch, isn't it?
But again, going back, and we've had this conversation many times on the podcast, if you're a forward player and you're playing for one of them teams, what's the point? Because they put all the players behind the ball. It's not clever. It's not pretty. It's boring. It's attack versus defence. It's a training ground scenario. If I was the referee, I always look at it in boxing terms. If you're a boxer and you go into a bout and all you do is run away, run away, run away, run away, don't lay a glove on your opponent, the referee will go to the two boxers, he'll call them in, he'll say, look, if you're not prepared to have a fight, go home, I'm awarding the game to this fella, the match to this fella. That's what they should do in football. If you're not prepared to lay a glove on your opponent, call the captains in and just say, if you make no attempt to try and score a goal, I am going to stop the game and we are going to deduct you 6 points. You're a disgrace to football. And I think until we do stuff like that, it's never going to change. I hear
You know
these.
what I'd like to see?
Go on.
You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see all these get the sack.
I would, yeah.
I would like to see them all get the sack. What shouts? Well, they can only play philosophy
Absolutely.
with what players have got.
Mm.
You know, or it's either good defending or bad defending. If
Yep.
it's a 0-0 boring game, oh, what a great defense! No,
Mm.
one team's defended and the other team not being able to break it down. It's just boring to watch. The English Premier League, they keep going about it. It's the most expensive for a lot of top players. But part of it, either Man City batter everybody and
Yep.
everybody sits behind it,
Mm.
right? And the rest of it, uh, a hit and miss in all the games. It's just, I find it now it's getting more. You know, you get certain games, Liverpool Arsenal the other week, brilliant game. You
Yep.
know, but how many games do you call brilliant nowadays?
Very few, because you get this philosophy of certain coaches, certain teams that go to certain games and they make no attempt to try and win a ball. They just think, well, to win a game rather. They don't want to get on the ball. They're not brave enough to play the ball forward. They're not brave enough to attack sides. I just don't see the point. I think and I think if you're cowardly, and I call them all cowards because they are
By the way, you're
cowards.
right. I'm agreeing with you
Yeah, they're all
because that's all it
cowards.
is.
Yeah, they're all
You know,
cowards too.
play, the players are cowards and put the white flag up
Yeah,
because they
absolutely.
want to play.
Yeah,
And they don't. No one will turn around and say to them, "Look, you've got to have a strong manager and you've got to have a disciplined manager,
yep,
right?" But what's the point in playing for a manager? What's just going to play that way, right?
absolutely no
They
point.
don't create any goals. They don't create any goals. It was
No,
like Newcastle, you
no.
know, for the last 10 years.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
play them there, the centre forward gets 9 goals, you know, and
yeah.
everybody's slagging him off, but they don't create any chances. And how many times he gets into the penalty box, you can count them on your little finger.
Absolutely. I mean, they go.
So they're not going to score goals,
No, they go.
right?
Well, we
So
don't get.
the players aren't as bad,
Yeah,
you know,
and,
because have a go.
exactly. And the fans will go. Well, we don't get no penalties, but you don't get in the box. You
Yeah,
don't have a go. And again, going back to your original point, what's the point in just staying in a league that you're actually going to put nothing into that league? You're not going to contribute. You're not going to entertain. Football is an entertainment business for me. It's an entertainment sport. It ain't a business. It's never been a business. It's a sport. It's a love. It's a passion. And it's about playing how we used to play on the playground. Our best 11 will beat your best 11. Let's have a go. Let's open each other up. Let's make a game of it and may the best team win, given the required amount of luck that you do need, because sometimes you can have all the players we've seen, the ball at the post, at the bar, the goalie make great saves. So it's not always that you play brilliant and you win games. It's just the way that football is. But at least you're having a go and you're trying to win a game of football. And I do not get this attitude with parking a bus. It bores the backside off
It's
me,
bad,
and I
bad enough
can't
to
believe
watch
it.
it, but I'll tell you one thing: it's bad enough playing in it. I
Yeah,
played for Huddersfield at end of my career.
yeah,
When I signed for him, the first thing Mick Buxton says to me, we need to stay up.
mm,
Right? Without the FA Cup, we get knocked out at League Cup. We've knocked out with League,
mm,
right? And the season, I mean, we finished mid-table, maybe just a bit mid-table, but the job was done to try and keep them up that season, right? Because I only
mm,
played for them that one season. But you go into training and I've got players, moaning and groaning, the board stiff. I
yeah,
used to love training, but I understood why they got bored. Nothing to play for, just working on defensive-minded patterns of play,
yeah,
never working on forward patterns of play. So it was so boring. And if you support a team and you get knocked out at FA Cup and you get knocked out at League Cup early doors in the competition,
mm,
and you can't win the league, what? That's why people get themselves into, or players get themselves into ruts,
mm.
and then it's very difficult to get out of it
But for me,
because they don't, they're out of everything.
yeah,
So they are pissed off with it, the
mm,
players, some of them anyway. And then uh, they get what the fans will always have a go, but the managers will always blame the players. They pick the team, they don't get a team balanced up, and then they want to pull players off because they're not getting goals. But they're not creating chances for them to get goals, the
absolutely.
strikers.
No,
And then they get criticised.
mm,
How many goals has he got? Oh, hang on a bit. What they should be saying, how many times has he been into penalty box?
correct.
But don't blame him for that because everybody's behind the ball.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, going back for me, whether you're out the FA Cup, whether you're out the League Cup, whether you've just got league games to play, what you've got is you've got that chance of winning a game of football, trying to play forward, trying to play entertaining football, going into training, being positive, being on the front foot, trying to make it happen, trying to create magic moments, trying to create things that fans will go home and remember and try and emulate. That's what football is about. But again, you're right. You've lived it, you've played it. Sadly, that's the reality of football. Too many boring managers and coaches. And if that's what your attitude is, I'd sack them all off. I'd relegate these teams. If you're not brave enough, if you're not bold enough, go and play in a league where you can be a big boy because you're cowardly. And I'm sick to death of
I
watching
would love,
football like that.
I would love to see a reporter. I mean, I wouldn't believe. Listen, if they said to me, "Good morning, Edward," I said, "Hang on a bit, my name's Frank,"
Yeah.
because I wouldn't believe what they told me. But I would love to see ask the manager a question. What what is it that you really, really don't want to attack teams?
Mm. What are you frightened of?
Because
Mm.
the they've made the game is called a beautiful game,
Yeah, they've made it ugly.
football, right? And you're right, they've made it ugly,
Mm.
right? But how can you score goals if you just don't want to go into the opposition penalty box
Exactly,
because you're scared of conceding goals?
but again, you hear fans go, "Oh, that was great defending." You get these commentators, "Oh, the
You
West Ham have
remember
played really."
the
They've
fans,
been awful. They've been
Gavin.
boring.
Listen, people get brainwashed.
Yeah, they do absolutely,
People get brainwashed. They got
absolutely. It's
brainwashed in
frightening.
COVID,
Yeah,
right?
it's frightening.
I've never known anything in my life where we had to have a vaccine.
Mm.
We had to have a jab. You were
Yeah.
forced into having a jab.
Mm.
So when people turn around and say, "Great, that were great defending,"
Yeah.
no, you were lucky defending because other teams missed chance after chance after chance.
Yeah.
People get brainwashed with it, so they repeat everything. Listen to some of these women now on television. They're repeating the words what the men used to use
Yeah. Yeah.
or what the men use.
Mm.
They're
Yeah.
repeating. It's the same pattern. It's like certain teams you see them play. Patterns play, right?
I know. I
You
totally
see
agree with you.
Guardiola has a pattern, but it's an attacking pattern.
Yeah.
But You look, they don't turn around and talk about the game. They talk about if Arsenal get beat 3-1.
Shape.
Who was the team who got beat 6-6 other day? The team got beat.
Wolves.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Wolves. It was the one that was on live. I'm trying to think who it was. Newcastle.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Everton against Newcastle.
yeah, it was
You know,
Tottenham.
yeah,
Tottenham.
Tottenham.
Yeah,
That
Tottenham,
was
yeah.
another one. And they're all talking about defending. Well, hang on a bit. They deserved that result because they
Yeah.
were poor. Why
Mm,
did they talk about how good Newcastle were?
yeah.
It was more about Tottenham and give the wages and the fans all this. No, that manager should have been sacked,
Yeah.
right? Because after he went, the other manager, because you know the type of football he was going to play.
Absolutely.
And it hasn't changed. It's not changed since Conte left.
No. Well, it
In fact,
can't.
he got more defensive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, they employed his assistant manager, and now they've got the young lad that's in charge. And you look at it, you just think, I just
Ryan,
don't. But
Ryan
Ryan Mason,
Mason.
and you just think, I just don't understand it. It's crazy. But you keep on hearing this word shape. Look at the shape. I keep hearing they're better out of possession. I'm going, hang on a minute. Did I just hear you right? How can a team be better out of possession? The game
Because
is about football.
the
Oh,
repeat,
it's
the
incredibly
repeat.
stupid.
Listen, go down the street
Yeah,
and there's two, three or four restaurants, two, three or four restaurants on that street.
yeah,
One's full,
yep,
and other two or three are empty,
yeah,
right? If you win, and you think, oh, that's I've eaten them all now. I've tried them all.
yeah,
That's only there because the in crowd going. And it's same on the television with the reporters
mm,
from the media, the writing media to the talking media.
yep,
The elite media sports reporter will say something, and everybody copies it
yep. Absolutely,
or
yeah.
believes what he says.
Yeah, it's a narrative that they
You know,
drive, and
have an
everybody does.
opinion.
Yeah,
Have an opinion.
they,
You can disagree
mm,
without arguing.
sadly, too, they don't have opinions because most of them are muppets and puppets. They're frightened to say anything out of the ordinary. They're frightened to question the narrative, and therefore everything is stale, mundane, sterile, and boring. And this Special K really does remind me of Jack Grealish. Even his passes really similar to Jackie. He has that ability to get on the ball, to ghost into
Is
positions.
that all you're watching tonight?
Yeah, I'm watching Napoli. They're currently 1-0 down against Udinese. Great goal by Udinese. They only need a point to win the Scudetto. So I'm hoping that Napoli do win it. I like to watch Napoli. I like Special K. Osimhen's a good player, Victor Osimhen, the Nigerian international centre forward. I think he's going to be probably maybe off in the summer. I think there's going to be one or two Premier League clubs putting big money on the table for him, and whether Napoli take it or not remains to be seen. But I mean, Napoli massive too. They've taken 11,000 away to Udinese. It's a trip of over 500 miles, and they've also sold out their ground, the Diego Maradona Stadium in Naples. That's absolutely full. So there's two full grounds and a massive television audience watching Napoli tonight. But currently, half time, they're losing 1-0. Yeah, I thought that Haaland's goal was fantastic. While we are talking of Haaland, it does make me laugh. It also makes me sad, annoyed, and really angry when he's perceived as a history maker. No, 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 he's not a history maker. I only look at league goals, and the reason why I look at league goals is because players of the past didn't have the League Cup before the 60s. It was only from the early 60s that the League Cup was a tournament that we competed for. So we only ever had the European Cup because, sorry, the FA Cup. We didn't have the European Cups. We had the Metropa Cup. We're going to get onto that a little bit later in the podcast, but they only really had football league first division games. And when I look at again and I hear and I just keep hearing, oh, he's the greatest goal scorer of all time, and I'm going, He scored 35 league goals, and I think he's brilliant. I hope he scores 40. But there's only 7 players that have ever scored over 40 league games in top flight football. Dixie Dean, the great Dixie Dean, done it twice.
Yeah.
27-28 season, 60 for Everton. And in
Yeah, I was going to say 60 there. Yeah.
31-32, he scored 44 goals for Everton. But the first player to do it, 1925-26, was Ted Harper for Blackburn Rovers. Dave Halliday scored 43, again the same as Ted, in 1928-29 season for
Could you
Sunderland.
imagine? All right, the defensive minded
Yeah,
teams
yeah.
weren't around in those days.
No, not at all.
I get that little bit, but look at the pictures they had to do it on. Look at the
Absolutely.
balls they did it with. Look
Yeah,
at the brutality of kicking they got.
yeah,
Right. So everything against that player to get that type of goal,
yeah.
right, is more. The only disadvantage they would have today, for him to get 40 goals today, half of teams in the Premier League will just go out to defend.
Yeah.
And that's the only disadvantage they've got. Because the pitches are perfect,
Yeah.
the balls are perfect, the boots are perfect. The travel's perfect. They're not traveling on a bus for 3 or 4 hours, are they?
No, not at all.
Line them down and everything's done for them.
And if you're playing, for instance, West Ham versus Newcastle these days, they fly up. They don't go on the coach like they used to in the olden days.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, it was on
Everything,
the Shadowbang, wasn't it?
they're not traveling. They're not
No,
traveling 4 to 5 hours on a bus.
no, not at
And
all,
in
no.
some cases, 6 hours.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So they have everything laid on for them. But Vic Watson, 29-30 season for West Ham United, scored 41. 30-31 season. So it's all really from the 25 to 35. Pongo Waring scored 49 goals for the Villa in that league, which was second only to the great Dixie Dean. Ted Drake in 34-35 scored 42
Southampton.
goals for Arsenal, and the last player to score
I'm
over.
thinking of Ted Bates. Sorry, Ted Drake. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ted Drake.
Ted
Yeah,
Drake, yeah.
I remember him. Yeah.
I mean, he went out and he went on to manage Chelsea, didn't he? What was
Yes.
he? Drake's Ducklings at Chelsea. And in 1960-61, Jimmy Greaves was the last player to score over 40 league goals in a season. He scored 41. The most recent player to score more goals than Erling Haaland is Ron Davis. He scored 37 goals in the 1966-67 season. He was then joint
Is that
leading
the
scorer.
Southampton days,
Yeah,
Ron
Ron
Davies?
Davis, yeah. He
Because
also,
Newcastle were Win Davis, weren't it?
yeah, they weren't. I heard on TalkSport they were twins yesterday, and I'm thinking, they fucking wasn't. I mean, he did have a brother, Ron Davis. He had a brother named Paul, but Wyn Davis wasn't a brother. They were both
No.
Welsh, and they were both born in 1942, but in different parts of Wales and a couple of months apart. But Jimmy
I remember
Greaves,
both them two. I remember the one at Newcastle centre forward and Ron Davies at Southampton.
again, both good players. I mean, Ron went on
Yeah,
and
great players.
yeah,
Very good players.
yeah, Ron played in Seattle for Alan Hinton with Hoodie in 1979. But Greavesy topped the charts, 6 times, more than
Incredible.
any other player ever that's lived. Haaland,
He's the
I'm
best centre
loving.
forward.
Oh,
He's
without
the
a
best
doubt.
goalkeeper, the best striker I had seen
Yeah,
up until that Ronaldo, that Brazilian Ronaldo.
yeah. But I like
But he
Haaland.
had bad injuries in. But
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he
yeah.
had bad injuries.
I
You
think he
know.
had cruciates on both legs, both knees, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
The Ronaldo. But I
yeah.
mean, Jimmy Greaves, when he scored 41 goals, he was only 19.
Incredible, isn't it?
Sorry, no, he was 21. He was 19 when he scored 33 goals and topped the charts for the first time. So he done it twice for Chelsea, and he done it 4 times for Tottenham.
Tottenham.
This fella's done it once, and good luck to him, and I hope he keeps scoring. But Jimmy done it for 6 seasons, top of the
If I'm
pops.
honest, though, if I'm honest, listen, I'm not knocking you because I think everything is everything against Jimmy Greaves to do that is better than anybody else.
Yeah,
But what I will say about this kid, he's a chance of doing it because he's at Manchester City. The way out, the
yeah,
chances he's going to create, uh,
absolutely.
he's going to get. This team's going to create for him.
Yeah,
You know. So what I would say about him, I mean, because I know you're a big. I am.
you breaking up a bit,
Okay,
too.
right. Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah. You're just breaking up a bit there, son.
What I've done, I just put the phone to me onto my chest, and it's instead of uh, being the speaker
Yeah,
clear. But you know, he has got things in his favour for him to go on to do that because the way our Manchester City play, injury free, by the way.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I do like to watch Erling Haaland. I think he's a great lad. I think he's a great player. He's a fabulous goal scorer. And I hope he keeps scoring the goals. But I always like to put things into perspective. And let's put it into
Well, maybe
perspective.
so, and you don't do it willy nilly. You do it because you look at it. So I'm going to be Alan's brilliant,
Yeah.
but these guys before Alan were brilliant,
Yep. Absolutely.
and that's the fairness about you, Gabby.
And that's the thing. I just think it's disrespectful to all the players that have played football before 1992 when all they ever harp on about is the Premier League. It's not right. It ain't fair. And I just like to give a little bit of balance. So all of those 7 players, there's 8 times a footballer has scored over 40 goals in the top flight of English football. And the great Dixie Dean has done it twice. And Jimmy topped the charts 6 times. That's more than any other. And I will always remember those players, and
And
they are too good to be forgotten.
that record will take some breaking. And
Oh,
like I've just said,
yeah,
the only chance I could see anybody doing that or equaling that would be Ireland because of Pep Guardiola
yeah,
and the way
absolutely.
out the way how they create chances for people like Ireland.
100%. And Jimmy, of course, scored 357 top flight goals. So when I hear these idiots going on about he's going to rip up the record books, I'm sorry. It's like a phone directory. You ain't ripping them up, fellas. You ain't ripping them up. Jimmy's got them. So let's have a bit of balance. You're getting paid a lot of money to broadcast. So give the supporters, give the viewers balance. Don't give him bullshit, because that's all you ever do. And just remember, boys and girls, that the game was invented and played the first football season, 88-89 season, when Preston North End were the Invincibles, the first Invincibles. Undev's goal, I hope that's the way I pronounce the fella's name, a German boy, for Brighton against Wolves. It was the 6th goal, and it was that ball when he just clipped it. I mean, similar to Ireland where he clipped it, but the
This
way
young
this,
lad for
yeah.
Brighton, this young lad for Brighton looks a player, doesn't he?
I think Brighton have got some really tremendous players. The recruitment's been really good. And again, we go back to what we were saying earlier. Brighton don't just go, oh, we're little Brighton, we're going to defend. No, they buy footballers. They have a manager that plays on the front foot, and
Um,
they try and win a game of football. And guess what?
he's
They
got
win.
he's got players what are comfortable on the ball. He's got players what express themselves. He's got players what don't panic. He's got players who
Yeah.
uh, take that risk element of the game when it's on. So they're a joy to watch, and I'm watching the game tonight, and it's a good game.
What score is it currently?
0-0. I'll let you know when the score.
Yep, Manuel Benson's goal for Burnley against Bristol City. That fella looks a diamond of a football player. Again, another one that they picked up. I believe he's from Belgium. He's a Belgian boy, isn't he? And Vincent Company has done such a fantastic job. Got
Oh,
great players, played great, and I really hope that they do well next season.
SOP